Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to the Ready, Set, Go preview show. This is a show that I do every single week, typically on Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. And this show is essentially a little bit of a setup for everything that is going to be coming out from my channel over the course of this week. And what I mean by that is that I essentially give you a preview as to what is going to be released from the channel. I talk about at a very, very high level some of the videos and also podcasts that are going to be coming out. We typically during this show also spend some time talking about some news and some current events, things that are top of mind for you and me, and we just generally have a good time. We mix it up and we have a good time. And that is one thing that I think is very consistent with the Ready, Set, Go preview show and just about every other live stream that we do here. We have a ton of fun. The other thing that we do as part of this is we typically give away a really cool slab. This week, it is this book right here, Showcase number 59, the third appearance of the Teen Titans. So we're going to be giving this book away to one lucky subscriber this week. I'm also going to be showing you the book that will be given away next week. And then if you haven't yet had an opportunity to see my 7,000 subscriber giveaway sponsored by my friend Tina, you will also see another really cool book that will be given away in the very near future. And so a lot of really cool stuff that's going to be coming up that we're going to do in this show. And I'm going to get to the agenda that I have on the table here in just a couple of moments. First, I want to ask you, if you are watching this right now, either live or on replay, and you have not yet subscribed to the channel, I definitely want to encourage you to do it. I want to encourage you to do it because it allows you to be eligible for the various giveaways that we do here, but it also allows you to stay in the loop. So whenever I am releasing content, it allows you to receive the notifications to know what is coming out. And so if you like the content that comes out from the channel, if you like the giveaways that we do, just go ahead, hit the subscription button, turn on notifications so that you can stay abreast of everything that I release. Not the podcast, that doesn't happen here, but everything else that gets released from this channel, from YouTube, you will get hopefully notified, fingers crossed on that one. So let me say hello to some comic book soldiers before we get started. I see Tina in here. How you doing, my friend? Silver Age Surfer is in here. Jeffrey P is in here. L. Smith is in the house. Harvey Abel, Mark Tripp. Tony is here scrolling down through the names. Randy Resnake is in the house. Matthew. This dude right here just completed a very, very fantastic comic book room makeover over the last, what is it, like a month or so that you've been working on this thing. If you guys haven't seen this thing, I definitely encourage you to head over to Matt Woods' Instagram, check out the footage. Check out all of the photos that he's put up over this really cool, these last couple of weeks as he's made over this room. It is a really, really nice setup, slightly jelly. Super honorable nephew, my man, Rye. How you doing, brother? I hope that you and the girlfriend are doing well down there. Scrolling down, Felix is in the house. Bearded Comic Collective, my man, Jerry. Hope you and the family are staying safe down there. Scrolling through, I think I said hello to one Matt. Here's another Matt, and here is another Matt. How you doing, brother? Tony is also up in here. Mr. Comic is in the house. Johnny Future, my man. All right. So welcome to all of the comic book soldiers that are watching this thing now live in the room or watching it on replay. I absolutely appreciate you guys taking a small part of your day to spend with me and hang out. So, as I mentioned at the top of the show, there's a couple of things that I want to talk about. We're going to talk about some news that has come out from DC. I'm going to give you guys an overview of some of the videos that are going to be coming out from the channel. I'm going to run down a couple of books that I'm actually reading right now that are really good. So I'm going to run down that list. And I also had an opportunity to watch a movie. I watched a movie that I think you guys may like. So we're going to talk about that in this video and or this live stream, I should say. And what I may end up doing is talking about a couple of these things. Then I'll do the giveaway and then we'll talk about some other things on the other side. So hopefully that makes sense to people. I don't want people to hang around too late if they're on the East Coast that have to get in bed before we do the giveaway. So I want to be a little respectful of that. All right. So with all of that said, let's go ahead and dig into this very first thing that I want to talk about as I attempt to get my eyelashes out of my eye. here is the first thing. And we want to talk about this because a ton of people have sent this one to me. And this is DC details how comic book retailers will be supported amid the coronavirus outbreak. And this is again something that several people have sent me over the last couple of days. And I'm very appreciative of all of the comic book soldiers / reporters that are out there that are passing information on to me, because it allows me to kind of stay in the loop. But you can see that this particular article that we're reading from the Hollywood Reporter was actually released on March 28th. And I believe that the statement from DC was actually released on the 26th. I went to DC's website and I was unable to find these details, but hopefully, I think that this is all accurate information. So what it says here is, let's actually skip to the statement. We'll skip to the statement. So this is a full statement that DC sent out to retailers, and it says, to direct market retailers. First, the entire team here at DC hopes that you and your family and employees are staying safe and healthy during this tough and precarious time. We know that you have been waiting for DC to comment on the state of affairs and to address any measures we will take to help our community lighten the burden of the disruption of our business. And we've been working hard on a long-term solution-focused plan. Here is how we will help. It says periodicals and books with in-store dates between March 18th and June 24th, which happens to be my birthday. Shout out to DC, will be fully returnable. And this is actually something that Marvel has also done. And I think a couple of other publishers are making things fully returnable. We'll even provide credit to your separate return shipping for these items only. And it says here, additionally, because we anticipate the continued disruption of business operations will create regional volatility, DC is exploring a multi-distributor model to provide us with the flexibility needed during this crisis to get new content to our readers on an ongoing basis. In the short term, we will continue to engage in active conversations with Diamond to help us solve the disruption issues that have arisen, and hoped to get new product to stores that want or need it as soon as possible. And there you go. So that is basically the statement that DC has released to basically say how they're going to help comic shops, right? So I think the returnability aspect of this thing is pretty standard, pretty par for course with others are actually doing. So I think that is actually a really good move on their part. There are some things that if you listen to the video that I did with Juan, the interview that I did with Juan a couple of days ago, he has kind of said that it's not really a Marvel DC publisher kind of issue. It's more on Diamond and what Diamond is going to do in terms of not sending a ton of invoices right away once things do clear up. And who knows when things are going to clear up now, because I think that we have done the shelter in place thing now through the end of April based upon the press conference that was done earlier today. So I'm not sure if what Marvel, DC, Omnipress and the others are doing in terms of returnability is going to help. I think it's a good move. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a good move. But I think it's also important that we find out what it is that Diamond is also going to do in these times as it relates to the invoices that may actually be sent out. But here's the other thing. There are a couple of people that believe that what DC is doing with the multiple distributors is a really good thing. And they're basically saying that this is something that should be instituted long term. And I want to offer a few notes of caution with that, right? I'm not saying that competition is bad, because I don't believe that. I believe that competition is good, right? I do believe that competition is good, but people are basically saying now is the time to basically end Diamond's monopoly on distribution. And I want to offer just a couple of cautionary notes, a couple of things for people to consider, a couple of things for people to think about as they trumpet that, right? So the very first thing that I would say is, from the press release that was issued, we cannot assume that DC is going to help stand up another distributor. We cannot make that assumption. They said multiple distributor, but what they may be saying is that they are going to distribute comics themselves. We don't know that, right? They're basically saying we are exploring options to get comics into the market, i.e. multiple distributors. But DC, if memory serves, was a distributor once upon a time, was in fact the largest distributor once upon a time, right? So I think that we cannot assume that they're going to help stand up another distributor or put product into another distribution stream, right? Or another company, I should say, besides Diamond. They may decide to do it themselves, which I think would be a mistake. Just being completely honest about that. I think that would be a little bit of a mistake, right? And I say that that's a little bit of a mistake if they go that route, because, and speaking in general terms, wholesalers and distributors actually help in some ways to de-risk things. And they help to de-risk things because as a manufacturer or a maker of a product, as soon as you ship that product to your wholesaler or your distributor, you get to recognize that revenue. You get to recognize that revenue as soon as it gets there. You're like, if the product that you have in your hand is worth $1, it's not worth that dollar until it gets to that distributor. Once it does, you get to say, I now have $1. Right? Who cares what happens after that? Right? But you get, as a manufacturer, as a maker, you get to recognize that dollar once it gets to the wholesaler. Then it's the wholesaler's responsibility to get it to the end user. Once they get it to their end user, then they get to basically recognize that dollar or whatever it is, right? So as a manufacturer or a maker, you are not necessarily holding a lot of inventory in-house because you're printing it, you're producing it, you're shipping it. As soon as you ship it, as soon as it's received, you recognize that dollar. If you now distribute product, you hold the liability and the risk for the whole process of manufacturing, production, and it's not until you then ship it to the end user, i.e. the local comic shop, that you get to recognize that and your risk negates, right? But the crazy thing about it is that you basically are now on the hook for a couple of things, for damage, anything that's damaged, for returnability, if there's returnability. If DC were to handle distribution themselves, they would be on the hook for a whole lot more than what they're on the risk for now. And a lot of people are like, hey, but the market is going to crash. If the market were to crash, this is the kind of thing that would help take DC down. So we have to be careful about what we wish for. The other thing that I would highlight here is that there were actually multiple distributors once upon a time. There were a lot of distributors out there, but it was in the craziness of the 90s, in the 80s and the 90s, that a lot of those distributors actually went away. They actually, what is this? Witten publishers make more money if they cut. Well, would they? Would they? If you are now on the hook for making a product, manufacturing it, printing it, and then shipping it to LCSs all across the country, your expenses actually go up because you need to have distribution, a distribution hub set up to distribute product. There's a reason why Diamond is located in the exact area of FedEx and DHL and UPS, because they have the trucks and they have the infrastructure and they have the logistics in order to actually be able to ship product everywhere that it needs to go. There's a reason why Amazon has so many DCs, distribution centers located in the country, but there's a huge expense for that. There's a huge expense for that, right? So to build up that type of infrastructure costs a lot of money. It costs a lot to actually do that. So prices may actually go up. So would they make more money? I don't think so, right? And you also have to remember, if they're making product returnable, who would they return that product to? They will return that product to you. Remember, Marvel, DC, the industry moved away from directly sending product out to bookstores and things like that, right? Because they wanted to go through the local comic shops, right? There was a reason for that. But let's get back here. There were a lot of distributors in play back in the day. There was Diamond, there was Capital City, there was Second Genesis, there was Heroes, there was Destiny, there was Pacific Distribution. There were tons and tons of distributors out there before Diamond and before Marvel and DC actually helped to push some of those distributors out of business. Yes, Marvel and DC and others actually helped to push some of those distributors out of business by giving more favorable contracts to places like Diamond and also Capital. Why? Because if you have a product and you have to ship that product to 12 different places, your costs go up versus having that product and shipping it to one place, that being Diamond, and recognizing your revenue and then allowing Diamond to do what it does, which is to ship product to their individual local comic shops, right? The publishers themselves helped to push us towards where we are right now, with basically there being fewer distributors than more. And there's several reasons for that. One of them is the cost implications. The other thing that I want to mention to you guys is if you like data, if you like to know how many comics have actually been sold, if you want to know like how big or how small the industry is, then if you have multiple distributors who are all operating differently, right, who all have different balance sheets and all different types of financial savviness, right? Imagine trying to extract data from 12 different companies versus one. Right. So if you are big on like data and the health of the industry and knowing how things are performing, then having more doesn't necessarily give you that. And I would remind you that there were lots of different distribution companies out there before. And part of what actually helped the crash in the 90s, part of what helped it was the fact that a lot of the different distributors were competing with one another and opening up all of these accounts with lots of different comic shops that were buying comics on credit, then were receiving all of this product, right? So Marvel's just shipping stuff out to all of these people. All these people are receiving it and they're sending it to these comic shops on credit who then couldn't pay. And that is part of what contributed to the collapse of the market. So the idea of introducing more distributors isn't necessarily a good thing. And again, I don't really have a dog in this fight. But I think it's important that we recognize that having more distributors isn't necessarily a good thing. And I would add to this, I would add one other thing here, that if you have multiple distributors that comic shops have to deal with, then potentially the profits of comic shops will actually go down. And I say that because now you have to manage 2 separate, 3 separate, 4 separate distributors with different invoicing cycles and different incentives that they put in place to get you to order more or less or whatever it happens to be. Fragmentation isn't necessarily a good thing for us as fans, as for LCSs, for distributors, for publishers. It's not necessarily a good thing. So I just wanted to throw out a couple of things for folks to kind of think about. I just want folks to kind of think about this before we start to say that another distributor is the way to go, because even if you had another distributor right now, should we assume that that distributor also would not be shut down as a result of COVID-19? I don't know. I don't know if we can make that assumption, So I wanted to kind of throw this out there for people to consider, for people to think about in light of the news that was dropped earlier today. No, I actually found it earlier today. My bad. About what DC is attempting to do. So I want to throw this back up on screen real quick because I know some people kind of came into the conversation late. So there is some news that has actually come out from DC where they're basically detailing how they're going to help retailers. And one of the things that they're going to do is to basically make all new product that is being shipped or being marked from March 18th to June 24th, they're going to make it returnable. And one of the other things that they kind of highlight here is that they're actually looking to put in place or to explore a multiple distributor model. And so what I was offering in my commentary here was that this isn't necessarily a good thing, right? I don't know if it's good or bad because there isn't enough detail here in this one sentence for us to really derive much from it. But what I was essentially doing was to try to offer a couple of things for people to consider, because more does not always equal better. So something to consider, something to think about here. I don't even know if you guys could see that, make it a little bit bigger. So hopefully that kind of helps people a little bit. All right. So scrolling down, let me see what you guys are talking about. Whoa, I missed a comment. Somebody said from a, what is this? Probably a former distributor. Liger King, you are hilarious. All right, so let me see. Let me see what else you guys are talking about. Let me see. Let me see. All right. I don't talk about a lot of that stuff. I just leave that stuff alone. All right. So that was a couple of things I just wanted you guys to consider and to think about, because I want the distributors, I want the publishers, I want the local comic shops, I want everybody to survive this thing and to come out on the other side ready to make magic happen. So, all right. So those were my comments there on the DC news that recently came out. Let me go ahead and give you guys a quick little rundown of a couple of books that I'm reading right now. And so I received a message from Adam a short while ago. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but Adam was the guy that was in a live stream a couple of days ago. Maybe a week and a half ago, that actually recommended that I check out Stealth, because Stealth is from Detroit. And so I ended up reading it, enjoyed it. He sent me an email a few moments ago. I was sitting there messaging him, and I realized that I had like 5 minutes until showtime. So I had to wrap up my message with him real quick and then ran in here to do this. But he hooked me up. He told me about Stealth, which is a really, really awesome character. If you guys haven't looked into this one, this might be one you want to check out. It's from Image Comics. It's only on issue number 1, and it's actually pretty good. It's a pretty good comic. It's not often that we get a superhero from Detroit, so I had to take a look at it. And thankfully, it was actually a really good book. What's funny, Matthew, is that I started to take a photo for you. I think it was yesterday when I was at the local comic shop. I was at the comic shop and I was going through a long box, and I found a bunch of My Little Pony, and I started to take a photo and I decided to let it go. All right. So a couple of books. Somebody told me about Prodigy during the last live stream. They told me about Prodigy, and I want to say that this comic is from 2011. I want to say it's 2011. It's called Prodigy. It is really good. It's from Image. It is really good. It is only 6 issues. I read all 6 issues yesterday and enjoyed it. I did an order on the eBay machine for all 6 issues and a couple of copies of the number 1. That's how much I enjoyed it. I was like, I want to have this book. I want to have it in my collection because I enjoyed it. I sat there and read all 6 issues, and I was after issue 1 that I went and jumped on eBay and just ordered the rest of it. And so that will hopefully be here in a couple of days, and you guys will see that in a future unboxing video. I also checked out, so part of the reason why once I was intrigued by Prodigy, I realized that the writer on that was Mark Miller, right? Mark Miller he's done a ton of stuff at Marvel, at DC, at Image. So I started reading some other things from him. And one of the things that I read from Mark Miller was War Heroes. And I've only read 1 issue of it, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this one. And the crux of Prodigy is it is a genius level guy, not a superhero. He's just super smart. And he has this this mind that can be divided, in that he can have some active things that he is doing. And then he has his subconscious divided off doing lots of other things. He's incredible. It is incredible. And then with War Heroes, the cool thing about this one is that they basically have found some way to turn average soldiers into superheroes through pills. So it sounds like every movie that we've ever watched, like Universal Soldiers, but not quite Universal Soldiers. But it's like you're a soldier and you take a pill and now you can fly, or you have super strength, or you have whatever the pill is enabling you to do. It's actually pretty cool. So I read issue number 1 of War Heroes from Mark Miller, and I enjoyed it. And I think that Mark Miller actually has a deal with with Netflix. And I don't know if any of this stuff is going to ever come to the streaming service, but it's a couple of cool comics, Prodigy and War Heroes. Another one that I'm reading from Ablaze Studios is Gung Ho. I had an opportunity to read Gung Ho 3, thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm a big fan of Ablaze Studios because of Vampire State Building and now also Gung Ho. I've read the first 3 issues, absolutely enjoyed it. So if you guys need something to read as you continue to shelter in place, as our time inside has actually extended, you guys may want to take a look at that. So what is this? Reggie, did you see what Donny Cates said on Twitter about people disliking a Marvel trailer? He says he needs help running his online accounts. He impulsively insults his fans. Yeah, you know, Donny took a break. I think he took a little hiatus from Twitter and just recently came back. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I can't imagine the types of things that people say to Donny Cates, right? And I'm not making excuses for the guy. I won't do that. But sometimes, like even with what I have here, it's sometimes a little too much, and you find yourself like reacting too quickly to things. And because it constantly builds some days. And I know you guys were just talking about the thumbs down on the video. I don't see it in my interface, so I don't know. But sometimes that stuff builds up and it spills out, you know, and I think I think people are guilty of that. I've been guilty of it. I've done it. And so it's one of those things that sometimes you just have to walk away. You know, you just have to walk away and you just have to not respond. And it's easier said than done. You know, because the challenge is that people say things and it builds, because multiple people will be saying different things and it adds up. And then if you don't respond, it's like hanging out there and people are reading it like, well, did he see it? Is he going to respond? Is it true? And so it's tough. It's tough. So I haven't seen what Donny has said. I do follow some of the comments that he makes, so I will have to go ahead and check that one out. So let me scroll down through the comments here before we go on. Almighty Liger King is talking about stealth is the bomb. Diamond Mafia. Here's the thing, man. The DC and Marvel help make Diamond who they are, right? I mean, I think that Diamond actually bought out its last competitor. I think it was Capital Comics. I think they bought them out in like 1996. I think that was like the last big distributor. There are still other distributors out there for comic books right now. There's some for indies, and then there's others that are out there for, I don't know what they specialize in, but I know that there's at least a couple, and I know at least one specializes in indies. And I can tell you for a fact that, you know, for a publisher, when you get your deal with Diamond, it's actually a big deal. It's actually a big deal to get that, as much as a monopoly as it might be, right? And I think there was actually a lawsuit or case or something like that a couple of years ago where they actually looked at that, and it was deemed to be okay because they are a monopoly when it comes to comics in North America, but not in graphic novels or books and things like that. And so I guess it was allowed to kind of stay in place. But yeah, you know, I know that Ablaze Studios, who I was just talking about a second ago, when they got their deal with Diamond, which was like 2 weeks ago, that was a big deal. That was a big deal for them as a publisher. So scrolling down through some of the comments here, because I know I'm way behind. Forgot this one. Red Mother. Man, Red Mother. I think it's issue 4. I think it's issue 4 in that stack you can see right there. Red Mother it had me from the cover of like issue 1, right? Anything with red, I'm a big fan of, right? But Red Mother, I think it's from Image. It is or is it Boom Studios? It is really good. Give me one sec. Let me get this. I'm trying not to give away a video that you guys are going to see soon. Oh, here we go. Here's issue 4. I don't want to show you everything else that's in that stack, but look, man, look at this. Red Mother from Boom Studios. This cover is dope. I'm telling you, I started reading this and was hooked from issue number 1. These guys, these gentlemen up here are doing a fantastic job with this title. I don't even know who told me about that. I think several of you actually mentioned Red Mother previously when we were, I think we did like a shelter in place. Give me some recommendations, give us some recommendations. Red Mother is the truth. If you're into like creepy, weird horror kind of stuff, Red Mother. It is really good. Boom Studios. Shout out to those guys. I don't think I've ever really bought a whole lot of Boom stuff, man, but they got me with this one, man. It's actually a pretty nice looking book too. So shout out to Boom Studios, man. Did Prodigy come out last year? Was it last year or was it? Oh, it was actually 2018. It was actually 2018. If memory serves, it was 2018. I don't think it was last year. But I think it was in 2018. And I was actually confusing Prodigy with Stealth, which I believe was 2011. So my bad. Thank you for keeping me honest on that one. Scrolling down through some of the comments here, scrolling down, trying to Philadelphia, still good for sure. Decorum. Yeah, I gotta read that one again. I read it once, bro. Richard, I gotta read it again. It was too much. It was too much to read in one sitting. So that's one. I need to actually write that one down so I can go back and reread that one because I was a little lost on that one. So yeah, it is Mark, and it's actually part of Miller World. So scrolling down, Alex says that's actually going to HBO. There we go. Scrolling down through here. Undiscovered Country is dope. That's a dope one. I've been enjoying that one. I bought a bunch of the number ones, and I think She Spawn actually sent me one, a really cool variant. So scrolling down, James Tomlinson, how you doing, brother? It is good to see you. Jeffrey says curbside pickup. Yeah, I told my guy I needed curbside pickup, and he didn't come out. So I walked in. I said, I need curbside pickup. He said, too bad. This is Juan. This is how he treats me, So I ended up had to go into the shop and hang out for a little bit. So scrolling down, that's the rumor on the street. There was somebody that was talking about that. That's the rumor on the street that it may be a Netflix show because I believe that Mark Miller through Miller World has that relationship with Netflix, or was it that Netflix bought Miller World? I'm not quite clear on that one, to be honest with you. Scrolling down, here we go. Richard, I think Greek Freak here is talking about Decorum. He said I had to read it twice. First time I was distracted. Second time I realized I really enjoyed it. There we go. Okay. All right. So scrolling down through the comments here, scrolling down, love Prodigy. There we go. Prodigy was dope. Edison is dope, man. I'm telling you. God Killers. Man, you guys can have me spending up all my money on this stuff. Let me write this one down. God Killers. Is it like Gore? Because Gore is a God killer. Is it God Killers with an S? All right, plural. All right, so we got that one. Universal Sold, man. That was dope, man. I am way behind on the chat. I'm sorry. What is this? JD says he sent out an A-OK. Thank you, bro. I will definitely keep my eyes open for it. There will probably be a delay in my ability to say thank you, but recognize that I will get it. If you send me a message, I'll definitely confirm. But sometimes there's a little disconnect because I get it. It sits here for a couple of days. I do the video and the video sits in the queue for a couple of days. And so there could be a little delay, but if you send me a message, brother, I will definitely confirm it. All right. So let's do this. Let me do one other thing and then we are going to get to the giveaway. And then there's some other stuff I want to talk about on the other side. And somebody just brought it up. So I'm not actually going to talk about that right now. All right. So here are some of the videos that are going to be coming out from the channel over the course of this week. Someone asked me recently, Reggie, what are you reading while you're sitting at home? Well, I just told you a couple of the things that I've been reading, but I did record a video. It's called Shelter in Place Haul. And so I'll be releasing this video where I'll be showing you guys some of the books that I actually picked up to read while I shelter in place. And you have to remember, I've been on shelter in place now. This is my third week. And here in Northern California, we are going into week 3 of shelter in place. So I'll be dropping that one. I'm going to do an all Wolverine haul. So stay tuned for that. And shout out to my man Chuck. My man Chuck hooked me up with a box. It was a box about this big. It was a pretty sizable box full of comics. And they were all related to politics. So we are going to do a video talking about politics and comics, or yeah, politics and comics. So stay tuned for that video. That'll be coming out this week. And then I'm also going to drop a poo-poo platter video. Those are the 4 videos that will be coming out this week. And then I'm also going to release at least 1 podcast this week. The podcast will probably drop on Monday at 7 a.m. Pacific time. The videos themselves will be released Monday through Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, as always. And maybe 1 to 2 of those will actually be a premiere. And for those that don't know, a premiere is basically when the video is playing, we are watching it together, and I'm in the chat with you guys talking about the video that we are watching together. So we may do 1 or 2 premieres this week if my schedule allows. But again, videos are going to be dropping at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Thursday, and at least 1 podcast will be dropping this week, maybe 2. We'll see. We'll see what my backlog looks like on the podcast side, but we'll be getting that out to you guys. All right. So there we go. So let me go ahead and give away this book. We're going to give away this book, and then we're going to talk about one other thing on the other side. And that other thing is going to be a movie that I actually watch. And it is, I think, it was an interesting movie that I think people kind of sort of have opinions about. So let's talk about that on the other side. So the book that we're going to be giving away right now is Showcase number 59. This is the 3rd appearance of the Teen Titans. This book was provided by the folks over at Go Collect, who sponsor our weekly giveaway. And so all you have to do to be a participant in this thing is watch the videos that come out from the channel. And in one of those videos is a phrase. You head over to the community tab, you find the post where I'm talking about a book. You click on the link, you plug in a couple of pieces of information. One of them is the phrase that you would have received from one of the videos that comes out. The contest basically runs from Monday to Sunday. Monday to Sunday is the time frame for the contest. It resets every single week and has for the last, 58 weeks or something like that. So shout out to Go Collect for putting me in a position to be able to do these awesome giveaways every single week. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And I'm going to allow you guys to see the list of names of folks that are in the running for this week's giveaway. And basically, these are all of the folks that were able to find that post and were able to get into the running. It's a relatively smaller list this week. I think there's only a little over 200 people in this week's giveaway because I think that the day that the video was released, I think people were preoccupied with a bunch of other like COVID related stuff. And so it is what it is. May the odds be in your favor. All right. So let's go ahead. I'm going to share my screen one more time. We're going to roll the dice and figure out how many times we have to randomize this list. And make sure you guys can see that, and you can. So let's go ahead and roll this thing. And 2, that is like potentially the lowest number we've ever seen. Oh man. So we are going to randomize this list a total of 2 times. Small list, small number of randomizations, I guess. All right. So good luck to everybody. So here we go. This is 1. And here is 2. The winner is, that was the worst build-up ever. EJ Lee. EJ Lee, you are the winner of this week's Go Collect giveaway. In the top is EJ Lee, Scott Brown, Daryl, Matthew, and Dake Man. Oh, I see backseat driver in there. Good to see. All right. So there we go. EJ Lee, you now have 1 week. 1 week to send me an email to Regie at RegieCollects.com. And in that email, you need to provide me with your screen name, your government name, your mailing address, and your preference for either a shirt. And the shirt comes in 2 different colors, light gray, dark gray, but I only have them in large right now. So if you want the shirt, color, I already know the size. And if you don't want this, I can send you a pen. There's a Go Collect pen, writing pen / stylus that I could send you. So you'll get the shirt, or the stylus, you will get the exclusive Go Collect variant comic, and then you will also get this really cool book. So EJ Lee, send me your email to Reggie@regiecollects.com, and I will get this bundled up and sent out to you in a timely fashion. All right. So let me scroll down. My chat has now gone out, so you guys have my apology with that. Let me see if I can actually open it up and in the YouTube machine. So bear with me as I do that. And in just a second here, I'm actually going to show you guys the Go Collect giveaway for this week. So I think you guys are going to want to see this. And then we're also going to talk about one other topic that I've kind of held into the end so as to not make people wait forever. Chris is like, I need to get myself a Swolger shirt. Brother, the Swolger shirt is the move. It is the move. I'm telling you, these are available on the RegieCollects.com website. If you are serious, if you're joking, forget that I just said that. All right. So let me show you this upcoming week's video. I'm sorry, book. I think it's a cool book. I own 2 copies of this book myself. It is Savage She-Hulk #1 9.6. And this book right now is pretty hot because of the Netflix series that will be coming out at some point. So She-Hulk #1 is the Go Collect giveaway book for this week. So I want to go ahead and share my screen one more time. And we're actually going to head over to Go Collect and look up the prices of this particular book. So you can see Savage She-Hulk #1. You can see I have, there you go. I'm right there. That's my list that I have set up of all my books. And 9.6 right now has an FMV of $170. I'll make sure you guys can see that. You can. All right. $170 for a 9.6. You can expand it and you can see some of the prices here. 155, 170, 160, 190, 160, 150. So basically an FMV for this particular book at a 9.6 of $170, which is not bad for this book. So it's the origin of She-Hulk in the first appearance. So all you have to do, again, if you want to win this book this coming week, is to basically watch the videos that come out from the channel over the course of the week. And in one of those videos, I'll give you a phrase. That's basically it. So that is this week's giveaway book. And I'll also show you this one because it is right here on the desk. This is the 7,000 subscriber giveaway right here. It is Avengers #196. This is the origin and first appearance of the Taskmaster. This is a book that I don't even own. Don't even own it. But because of my friend Tina, who is here in the chat, she actually put me in a position to be able to give this book away to one of you. One of you will get this book thanks to Tina. And so to enter this giveaway, all you have to do is to be a subscriber of the channel. And if you head over to the community tab right now, there is a post where I'm actually talking about the 7,000 subscriber giveaway contest. I think I called it like the 7,000 plus because we are shooting beyond 7,000. On the community tab, there is a link to MailChimp. You click on that link, you go to MailChimp, and you plug in a couple of pieces of information. One of them is like your email address and your name. And then you also will plug in one other piece of information. You're going to plug in your local comic shop. And you're going to plug in your local comic shop's name because when we do this giveaway, which will probably be in a couple of weeks, you as the winner will get this book. Your local comic shop will basically get an order from me for $100. I will buy $100 worth of comics from your local comic shop to kind of support them. It's only $100, but it's $100, right? That will go to them in exchange for some new comics. I'll buy some new comics that they will have hopefully sitting on their shelf. I'll buy whatever from them and they'll ship it to me. And then I'll either keep it in the collection or I'll give it away to somebody else here locally in my area or as an AOK. So again, if you're interested in entering the 7,000 subscriber giveaway contest sponsored by my friend Tina, all you have to do is head over to the community tab, find the post, click on it, and then plug in your information. There you go. Big spender. It's only $100, bro. I have a family to support. I can't spend all my money up on comics now. Oh, man. So let me see. Gotta love She-Hulk. Undervalued book, says Silver Age Surfer. What is this? Just read 30 Days of Night. Bro, The Crypt Keeper, 30 Days of Night is so good. It is such a good read. I read that for the first time probably 10 months ago, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly. Like, I didn't even know that it was a comic, right? At first. And I found out it was a comic. I got it online and I thoroughly enjoyed that comic. The movie was fantastic. The comic was incredible. So shout out to you, Crypt Keeper, for bringing up a really, really cool read. That one was dope. That one was dope. So scrolling down through some of the comments here. Let me scrolling through. Yeah, Rush Die Hard's like, that's an old series, man. I mean, I'm still reading stuff. I read Wonder Woman 1 the other day. I read Wonder Woman 1, and I love reading a lot of that old stuff. So I'm always reading a combination of like new stuff, kind of sort of recent stuff, and then really old stuff. And that to me is just, I'm just exploring the hobby as best I can, you know, and a lot of free time, man, a lot of free time. So I'm just reading as much stuff as I possibly can get my hands on. So, all right. So, Greek Freak is rushing me. I feel rushed, bro. I feel rushed. So let's talk about this. So, I think it was on last week's Ready, Set, Go preview show. I was talking about some of the things that were actually happening with some of the movies that were at the theaters. And I was saying that they were actually releasing some of these movies that were at theaters on streaming services. And I highlighted Birds of Prey was going to be coming out on last Tuesday, just passed, and also Bloodshot. And so I had some time on my hands. Today. And I sat down and I watched one of those movies. And I'm going to tell you right now, I thought that this movie right here was incredible. I mean, his acting is not the best. I'm going to be completely honest, but you know that going in. And this movie, Vin Diesel's Bloodshot, I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought that it had some humorous moments. It had a little bit of adult appeal, if you will. I think that they had appropriate nods to the comic, but they didn't go over the top in some respects, right? I recently actually watched the Ninjak takes on the Valiant Universe. Ninjak takes on the Valiant Universe web series. One of you told me about this. I actually watched this. I want to say it was on Friday. I watched this, and there was a Bloodshot character in that web series. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but I would encourage you to check it out. It's on Valiant's channel. It's actually good. It's good. The entire web series is like one, you sit down and you just watch it. And they had a Bloodshot character in there, and the character was obviously wearing white body paint, and it looked a little ridiculous. They were trying to hold to the comic book a little too tightly, in my opinion, and it looked a little silly. And so I was not worried, but I was like, well, how are they going to handle this with Vin Diesel? Are they going to put him in body paint? They're going to do something safe. I'm not going to give it away, but I think it was well done. I think that it was well done. I enjoyed the movie for what it was, which was a comic book based thing that had an actor that wasn't the best actor. But I enjoyed it. I mean, it's soldiers, there's guns, there's explosions, there's enhanced people, there's nanites. I mean, I enjoyed it. And so if you have some time on your hands, if you have $19 or whatever sitting in your account, I say watch it. I say enjoy it. I say support the industry if you can. And I watched it to support and was pleasantly surprised at how much I actually enjoyed it. My wife even looked up a couple of times and watched a little bit of it. And she commented on how attractive his wife was. She was like, oh, she's pretty. And I was like, yes, she is pretty. It was a good movie. So let me go over to the YouTube and see what you guys are talking about. Let me see what people are talking about. Greek Freak is saying they did it right. They did it the right way for making a realistic movie. I would definitely agree with that. I think it was definitely a realistic movie that it was entertaining. It was entertaining. Antoine says, I watched Birds of Prey today. It was good for him. There you go. At the end of the day, man, if you watch a movie or read a comic and you enjoy it, then it's worth it, you know? James Tomlinson says that he's reading the current Bloodshot run. I haven't yet read that. I may have to. I'm gonna be honest with you. When I was watching the movie, it made me want to go back and read the comics. And I have some of the early Bloodshot stuff. I think I read like issue 1, and it was okay. It wasn't great. The original issue 1, it wasn't great. But I know that they recently relaunched the title. And so if you're saying that, James, that it might actually be good, then it might be worth a shot, because I enjoyed the movie and I wanted to go back and read something. But Old's Valiant is different from New Valiant, you know? And so I may have to go check that one out. May have to check it out. Jerry G talking about Disney streaming is coming out with a What If animated. That is very true. That is very true. All right, scrolling up. Is it Ninjak? It's Ninjak. I think it's Ninjak. It's Ninjak takes on the Valiant universe, is I think what they called it. So I want to show you guys a couple of more images, because I pulled images. So I'm going to show you a couple of images of of the Bloodshot movie here. I had a couple more that I wanted to pull up here real quick. I think this is one right here. Nope, I already showed you that one. Let's close that window. Here is one that I'll throw up. This was the other kind of sort of love interest in the movie. Really attractive girl, and she's the one that kind of in some ways helped Bloodshot when he was in a difficult spot. So I definitely enjoyed her acting. I think she was a pretty talented actor, definitely an attractive woman. And then here, this is a scene that I think many of you guys have seen. It's not the best photo, but I think many of you guys have actually seen this from the trailer that came out, and it was dope. I'll be honest with you. I at the time I saw this part of the trailer, I was like, that is really, really cool. And I wasn't sure how they were going to work it into the movie, but the way that they did it, I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed this movie from start to finish, to be honest with you. And like the first 15 minutes, I had not realized that they had even rolled the credits, right? I mean, not the credits, but the introduction to the movie. It was like the first 15 minutes were really engaging. Then they interrupted it to basically start the movie. And I was like, whoa, that was actually pretty cool. So again, something really awesome. If you guys get a chance, check it out. If you guys have the time, I definitely encourage you to watch that one. So let me scroll down through the comments here. You know what, bro? Rag 718 is asking whether there's end credits. I turned it off. I didn't even think about it. I have it rented for the next 24 hours, 48 hours. I'm going to go watch it after. So Greek Freak says, or is asking, Reggie, Valiant has IP to 5 movies. Yes, they do. So Valiant has a deal in place, I believe, with Sony for a total of 5 movies. They started with Bloodshot. Not quite sure why they made that decision, but they started with Bloodshot. I think that there could be a Bloodshot 2 in there. It depends on how they want to do it. But there potentially could be a Bloodshot 2. The next question becomes, which other characters would they want to do, right? I think Shadow Man might be a little too dark. Archer and Armstrong, I don't know about that as a movie. Exo Man of War could be dope. I dig Exo Man of War. I dig the whole thing with him. I went back and read that series several months ago, and I actually dig that one. So I could see them maybe doing something with that. I would like to see like Hard Corpse, maybe even Harbinger. It's hard because the question becomes, are they going to do Old Valiant or New Valiant, right? Because I've been looking at what's happening with Bloodshot when they announced the deal and they started talking about the 5 movies. I started thinking about that as Red Ocean months and months ago. So, you guys know how long ago this deal was announced. That's when I started thinking about Blue Ocean stuff and started trying to pick up some of those Valiant books and going back and reading some of those Valiant books because I wanted to kind of be in a better position to talk about them and to know what was going on. And so the question becomes, which characters are they going to go after or leverage for this new movie? Are these 5 new movies / universe, is it going to be old Valiant or new Valiant? Because they have a couple of decisions to make. So I would encourage you guys, if you have, like, they would probably make a Ninjak. My guess is that they're going to make a Ninjak, right? If you go back and take a look at the Ninjak takes on the Valiant universe that is here on YouTube, you'll get an opportunity to see some characters. I watched that, and it made me want to go back and read some of the old comics a little. A little, because I don't remember Archer and Armstrong being very good at all, right? But as someone just pointed out, there's some new Valiant stuff out, and maybe it's a little bit different, maybe it's a little bit better. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, they have this deal in place, and part of why I wanted to watch Bloodshot while it was out was to support the industry. Well, I had some free time. 2, I wanted to kind of support the industry. To say to Sony, to say to the industry, hey, keep making these movies, because there is not fatigue. People are enjoying these things. But there's also a little bit of noise out there that they may actually release Black Widow this way as well. That was something I saw this weekend. They may release Black Widow straight to streaming services. There is some discussion and debate about doing the same thing for Wonder Woman on 1984 or 85. I can't remember. I talked about that during last week's show. So what I was trying to signal with my little $19 was that there is support and there is interest in some of this stuff. So we shall see. And Rag 718, I'm going to go back and watch and see whether there's some ending credits in there. Greek Freak is like, we need those other 4. Bro, I'm telling you, bring them on. Bring them on. All right. All right. So we are going to go ahead and wrap this stuff up. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me just a little bit. As I mentioned, there are going to be a couple of videos that are going to be coming out from the channel over the course of this week. There's going to be a shelter-in-place haul where I'm going to be showing you some of the books that I've picked up from the local comic shop that I am reading while we shelter in place. I have a politics and comics video that is going to be coming out this week, as well as an all Wolverine haul. And then we'll also be doing something with a poo-poo platter. Now, I will tell you, I may change this up just a little. There is a video that I have out there that someone has tried to claim copyright infringement on. I want to release this video this week, but if this copyright thing doesn't get cleared up soon, I won't be able to release it because Google and YouTube are actually on reduced staffing. I'm not sure how quickly these things are going to resolve themselves, but if it resolves this week, you may actually see that video. If not, you'll probably see some semblance of what I just talked about here a moment ago. We will also have at least one podcast that will be released this week. So stay tuned for that. And here is the Go Collect book for this week. So there are some folks that came in a little late. This is the Go Collect giveaway book for this week. It is Savage She-Hulk #1, the origin and first appearance of She-Hulk. Yep. So if you're interested in this one, definitely stay tuned to the video. And then if you are interested in getting into the 7,000 subscriber contest sponsored by Tina, you might want to head over to the community tab to check out the post that I have up about this very book right here. All right. So with that, we will wrap this thing up. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me just a little bit. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at RegieCollects, or you can send me an email to Regie@RegieCollects.com. Take care.